G'day guys and welcome back to another video on this YouTube channel. And in today's video I'll be going through my 2024 AFL ladder predictions, and please stay tuned for the whole video because this will be a highly action-packed video, so I recommend you staying on. Let's get straight into it. In 18th position I have the Fremantle Dockers, who I think are in a little bit of a rebuild, who won't do as well in this AFL season as they haven't been the best during the 2023 AFL season, finishing 15th on the ladder and not having the best of years, of course. The Fremantle Dockers will have some things to improve on somewhat, but I think Fremantle will have an alright year next year, but not the best year. I think it will just not go their way for them next year. I think they're going to have one of the worst years ever, but not as bad as the West Coast Wooden Spooners, but of course I think Fremantle, they will have to take a little bit of time, but I think they'll finish last and last. In 17th position I have the West Coast Eagles, who had a terrible 2023 AFL season, of course finishing last on the table last year and losing by an odd 171 points against the Sydney Swans. I think this year it will be a little bit of an improvement, but not the best. But they, of course, had a lot of injuries in 2023. But I do see a bright side for the West Coast Eagles, getting Matt Flynn, Tyler Brockman, and many other more players like Harley Reid, number 1 draft pick. And I think there's got to be a bit more improvement in the West Coast Eagles side and recovery from injuries. So I think this West Coast side can improve it just a bit and probably even win a derby against Fremantle Dockers. But I've got both WA teams finishing in the bottom two. Now I've got the Richmond Tigers in 16th position. I don't think they're going to do any well this year as well. Of course, losing Damien Hardwick in the coaching anyway, but Dustin Martin, I think this will be his last year at the club, and I think many other players will retire, and I don't think they'll find a click of it. I think they're too old now for this club. I think they need to start building a young list, but they're in a really big rebuild, and I think it's just going to get worse for them. 16th in the ladder this year, I think, but I don't know. This could be a shocking call. This could be I could be completely wrong, but I think Richmond are going to finish 16th on the ladder with no doubt. I think it's just not going to click for them this season. Hasn't been the best. They did okay, I think, last year, but it's okay. Okay guys, so now in 15th position, I've got the Geelong Cats. I think they're going to be a really bad club this year. Not to be controversial, but they do have stacked players, not going to lie. I have them in 15. This is one of my biggest calls of this year, because always the top 8 looks different than what it is in real life. So I think even though Tom Hawkins, Jeremy Cameron, they have a stacked midfield, but still, I don't think it will go well for them this year. I think Tom Hawkins Jeremy Cameron will get injured. And I think injuries will be a concern for them this year, and I think that's my big call. I think they're going to finish 15th, so yeah. Okay guys, now in 14th position, I have the North Melbourne Kangaroos. I think they're going to be a little bit of a riser. They can't be staying in the bottom 4 for so long. They've got to rise back up. I think this is the year where we see a glimpse of hope for the North Melbourne Kangaroos, and probably next year seeing him rise into that top 8. I think this year they can do something with I think it's Coben McCurchin or something, number 2 draft pick, and they've got Nick Larkey, who can do really well this year. They have a good. I think this is the year that we'll be seeing how good their players are and really going to shine this year. This could be their proper year at the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Finishing 14th would be a big rise for them. Now I've got in 13th position the Sydney Swans. I don't think things will click for them this year. Losing Buddy Franklin, but I don't know. Their side, we don't know where they're going to finish this year. They could finish at least in the top 4. I can see them finishing in the top 4, and I can see them finishing in the bottom 4. Anywhere in the table, they're going to be a shock side. I don't know what's going to happen to them this year. Honestly, I'll just put them in 13th. I'm not really that sure. I'm just went for a call where they'll finish 13th. I think Isaac Heaney will be okay, but yeah. In 13th position, I have 12th position, sorry. I have the Western Bulldogs. I think the Western Bulldogs will be a mid-table side this year. They have some good players, but I think their forward line with Jamara will really click. I think that would be pretty good. Their defence with Bailey Dale, Liberatores there, Bailey Smith. I think the Dogs will be a mid-table side. I'm not sure, but mid-table. This could be the worst call. I'm calling it right now. This could be the worst call ever if I'm reacting to my predictions, but yeah. In 11th position, I had the Essendon Bombers. I think they will be an alright side this year. I think a mid-table side. I think they'll be pretty good. Get a few upsets here and there, probably upsetting some of the biggest teams in the competition. Like, they could beat Carlton. I think that will be their best win this year. And also they could beat GWS, knock those types of teams off. I think they will cause lots of upsets this year. Lots of good big games this year. I think they have it in them this year, and surely they have some big momentum swing coming into the next year after this year. In 10th position, I have the St Kilda Saints. I think they will be alright mid-table side this year, just sliding out of the top 8 after finishing 6th this year. Lots of people would be thinking, will they make a home final? I don't even think they'll make the finals, honestly. I think they can. They have the capability in their team, but I think this year will be a 4-spot drop-off. I think they do have the capability to do it. They could, but there have been lots of struggles of St Kilda in the past, and I think this will just keep continuing, but yeah. Okay guys, in 9th position, I have one team has to go in this, and I put my team, the Hawthorn Hawks, in 9th position to take that spot. I feel like our team is pretty good this year. We have a stacked forward line. Let's get started. Marbia Cho, Mitch Lewis, Jack Gunston back in the Hawks. Got James Sicily. What could go wrong? James Sicily's in our backs, and Jai Newcomb in the midfield, operating there. And then James Warple. How good would this team be? Dylan Moore in the forward line as well. Luke Boost. Look at that team. I can see this team even making the top 8. But I'm not going to be biased. I'm going to put them in 9. I have decided the team to take 8th position is the Melbourne Demons. I think they are going to drop a bit this year. They could even miss out on the 8. That's a big call. But I think the team is not the best it was. But I can see them dropping drastically, even to the bottom 4. Not going to lie. I know they're a good team. They always make finals, but always one team will drop. So I think this team will. Okay guys, in 7th position I have the Port Adelaide Power. I think they will drop a bit in 2024. Of course, I think they'll finish 7th on the ladder. I know they're not the best team, but in other people's also very for YouTubers, so put them lower in the ladder. And I think that's also going to happen to them this year. I think they're going to finish 7th on the ladder, but yeah, I think it won't be their year as much. But they will make the 8. And they won't get a home final though, but you know what? I think they will finish 7th. I know this might sound controversial, but I think Gold Coast are going to finish 6th. I have big faith for Gold Coast. Okay, fine, let's be for real. In my early ladder predictions, I had West Coast in the last position, but early ladder predictions are early ladder predictions. But I have faith in Gold Coast Suns to finish in the top 6, because anyway, the 2024 early ladder predictions was just a rip-off take, but I think Gold Coast will finish 6th in the ladder, and I'm confident. In 5th position, I have the GWS Giants. I think they are going to finish in just missing out on the top 4 this year, but I think they'll finish 5th. They're a pretty good team to be like that. They showed it last year. Lots of people put them in 18th position last year in their predictions, but they ended up finishing higher than they expected. Well, that's a shocking goal. That's why I've got Gold Coast so high up the ladder. I think that will happen this year, but I think GWS will have a good year. Toby Green, really good. Josh Kelly, it would just click for them. I think it will. But yeah. In fourth position, I have another big call. I think Adelaide will finish fourth on the ladder this season. I think they have got the wealth. I know the top eight will never stay the same as last year. There will be some big changes. I think Rory Sloane would be a big factor. Tex Walker again. That backline, Jordan Dawson's there. I think that they are really going to be a big side this tournament, upsetting some of the biggest sides in the comp, like Collingwood and somewhat like GWS and many other teams that can absolutely smash the competition. I think they will just do well. In third place, I backed in the Collingwood Magpies to finish in third. Of course, winning the grand final in the AFL last year in 2023. Bobby Hill rising with the Norm Smith. Nick Dacos, Josh Dacos. It's just going to be another year where they just show it with Ash Johnson, Jordan DeGoey, and they'll absolutely crack it. I can see them going back to back in premierships, but I'm not going to go too far in that. I think they will definitely finish third with how much experience I have with Craig McRae. They can break the system here. In second position, I think the Carlton Blues will finish second, as they did pretty well in the final series. They made it to a preliminary final, finishing fifth. Of course, bet the Swans by 6 points or something like that, and then beat Melbourne in a semi-final by like 2 points. And they had a couple of others. I think this year they'll really show their colours and come second place in a not really a shock. In first position, I have to go with the hardest team to stop this year, which is the Brisbane Lions. Lockie Neal will be unstoppable this year. I mean, he won't be the best player there. Will Ashcroft will be good in the forward line, I guess. And then they got some backs, and then I think they will absolutely dominate after losing a grand final. Usually you get blown out after losing a grand final, but I think this team won't get blown out. I think they'll keep fighting for another final. I think they can even make it again and win a premiership. So yeah.